Okay, so another video, and this is just an information video. Shouldn't take long at all to do. What I want you guys to do is notice that I've put out now, three videos in the last few days, but two of them are like guided meditations. And I'm going to try to come up with a name to call them all and then maybe number them so when they come up on the channel, you identify, oh, this is that new kind of meditation. And I want to make a better sort of video to explain this to you guys, but maybe later, and just not right now. What I want to say right now about those videos is that I think they're extremely important. And there's a method behind them, which I don't want to go into yet, but there's a method behind them. And there are some skills that you can pick up by practicing them. And so what I want you to do is, I think it would be really important. I hope you'll take this. If we were at the center and we were meeting every week, I would be sitting down and saying, look, there's this, I'd be making a seminar out of this. And we'd be, it would be a big push and we'd probably have 5 classes and I would make a big thing out of it, but because of the COVID, we can't do that. So just hear me say, this is a very important kind of meditation that I want you to really take the time to learn. And so I'll be as thoughtful about the videos as I can be. I'll put out, I don't know how many. It might only be 5 or 6, but it could be 10 or 15 of these kind of meditations, which begin, you'll notice the first one is sort of guided and then not guided. It includes elements that I tell you to see, but then it also allows you to see what you see for yourself. And then the second one is, hopefully is also like that. What I would like you to do is take these very seriously and spend I would do each one of them 5 or 6 or 7 times. I guess that could maybe be too many, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times. And once you can do it, once you've done it a number of times, then I would like you to try to get into the same state of mind and do it without the guided part at all, without watching my video as you do it or listening to my video as you do it. So, and then I'll put out more, and like I said, I'm not going to explain why yet, but what I want to say is that I think this is something I've wanted to do for a while, and I just never could find the right way to present it. I don't know, it never quite panned out. And then it finally has, and I really believe in this kind of meditation. It doesn't count for your morning and evening meditation. It's a separate kind of practice. It goes to a different dimension of consciousness than deep meditation does. But it's going to serve a very powerful purpose in your life. And I'm guessing if you do it, if you're pretty dedicated about it, I'm guessing you would notice some benefits in your life within a few weeks, maybe even within a week of doing it. And it'll seem like there's nothing important going on. You go in and you look at a leaf, or you go in and you become a rock, or you go in and explore a tree. But there is something else happening as a result of it. There's a power. The state of mind you go into with this kind of meditation is really receptive to power. And so what my experience is that I'm absorbing God's power while I'm doing this in ways that I don't quite understand. And I'll say more about that later. I think there's probably a lot I need to say about this. But this, and it'll evolve, and we will get into some Christian elements of visualization. Nature, the book of nature is not anti-Christian, it is Christian. These are all sort of nature settings, right? Going into God's good creation. But we could also get into some directly Christian elements with this also. So do the videos and know that if I'm saying to become a leaf or anything I have you do, think of it sort of as a skill that you're developing, an ability that you're developing. And that's, I guess that's about all I want to say for now. So short video, just asking you to really find these, and when they come up, make sure that you do them. And then I would guess with a new skill like this, the entirely new kind of meditation, you may have questions. And so please feel free to email or text me. And then I guess I could say also, anything you say could ruin it. It's so tricky what you're supposed to say or not say to people. And sometimes if you say too much, it causes problems and misunderstandings. And if you say too little, sometimes it causes problems and misunderstandings. But just this is such a fun kind of meditation. My daughter loves to do this kind. She just loves it. And I thoroughly, deeply enjoy it. So it's kind of an inherently enjoyable kind of meditation. It's very joyous. Not that it has to be every time for you or anything, but it seems to be just an inherently wonderful kind of meditation. And yet, there's something really deep and profound about it too. And so you're in there really, to some degree, playing or enjoying things, but there's this undercurrent of real transformation that comes as a result of the meditation you're doing. I guess I'd put it that way. And then it occurs to me just to share my last. So I did it last night. Probably was in about 40 minutes, probably. And it was a good one. It's like regular meditation. Some of them are really wonderful and some of them are kind of working at it, But I was in a really good one, and I went down the well, and for me, just one of my identifiers is I really do lose the world as that light at the tunnel disappears, at the top of the tunnel disappears, and as I'm enveloped in that darkness, I really do feel miles away from the world. And I also just mean world consciousness. The part of my brain that plugs into the world is gone. And it feels like, on a good night like that, like I'm very, very far away from the world and completely separate from and free of it. And so I thought, oh, this is a good evening. This is a good one. And I got down, and it was, when I came into the other world, it was dark and it was nighttime. And there's a bunch of stuff that happened, but I just want to share this one element. So it was nighttime, and I just looked out over the other world, and there were some, it's like moonlight, I guess, a half full moon kind of an evening. So everything's in dark shades. But then there were all these bioluminescent plants and flowers and things. And it really was so beautiful that I was crying. I couldn't believe it. I was probably 20 minutes into the journey, and I realized that tears had been streaming down my face due to the sheer beauty of this place. And then I had another sort of an experience, and what I felt was a devotion, an intensity of devotion for God that was unusually strong. And it lasted a half an hour, and it was there when I came out of the meditation. It was there this morning. In fact, I would say it's there now, and to some degree, and that was gained in there. And so here I am saying more than I wanted to say. This is just a working theory. Don't take this rigidly, but there's this notion from Carl Jung that there's this part of our minds that are all connected, the collective unconscious mind, and that our world mythologies stream out of that place, out of that collective unconscious mind, in some kind of interaction with God, and that the mythologies are born there. And I like that perspective of where you go when you do this kind of meditation. You go into the myth mind. We're trained so rigidly these days with our sciences and our education system. And we're so grateful for our sciences and our education system, because it's built this incredible technological world that's afforded us so many comforts, and there's just nothing bad to say about it except that it's not our whole mind. And there's this other part of our mind that, artists have access to in certain ways, musicians or painters or, sculptors or whatever. There's this sort of creative, mythical dream mind that we all have. And what I think this kind of meditation does is it gives you a way to interface directly with the creative, intuitive, mythical dream mind. It's a little like learning to fall asleep, learning to dream without falling asleep. And going into that, it's a way of interacting with your own consciousness. And what I mean by that is you like, for now it's guided. Traditionally, you don't even teach this as a guided thing at all, except just to find the hole and go through it. But it's guided, but then it gets where it's unguided and there's no guidance at all. And what's the strangest thing about this kind of meditation is you yourself, right, the one who's inventing the experience, you would guess you're the one doing it, it's your brain, are shocked and surprised and astonished and brought to tears and moved by what happens in there. And so there's this part of your mind that is filled with archetypal symbols and wisdom, and is very at home with the Lion King, and Greek mythologies. And there's this part of your brain that is wired for myth and sort of religious truth and spiritual truth and creativity and imagination. There's a part of your brain that's devoted to that. And we a lot of people don't have very good access to it. And my experience is that this kind of meditation is a very unique way of gaining access to that part of yourself, which also may be a part of a larger connected consciousness, the collective unconscious of Jung. And so it's actually very profound, and it can be mundane. You could have some experiences that are mundane. You just come back and try again later. But over time, if you relax and don't try to force it and treat it as a sacred thing, I think you'll find that you can travel quite easily from ordinary mind into the myth mind. And that's what the journey through the tunnel is. The journey through the tunnel is it's a change of consciousness from ordinary mind to non-ordinary mind, ordinary mind to myth mind. And it's just as you can learn from dreams you have. Sometimes it's so cryptic you don't know what it all means. But just as you can have a profound and meaningful dream, sometimes that are astonishingly deep and meaningful to you, journeys are just like that. This kind of meditation is just like that. So it's something that I think everybody should really concentrate on and spend time doing. I mean, how often should I do it, Clint? I don't know, but maybe every day. Maybe once a day. maybe 5 times a week. You could go in and spend 20 or 25 minutes down in that space. And the hardest part, it's not hard at all, actually, it's quite easy, but the most important part is the shift in consciousness from ordinary mind to non-ordinary mind, which basically happens as you pass through the tunnel. And then I want to recommend there's music I like. If I was going to do this in person, there's a very specific album that I would pick, and you may consider purchasing it. It does make it easier. I believe I would run into copyright laws if I were to play the music while I did the guided meditations. But you can do it. I hope most of you are computer savvy. So if you're not, grab your son or daughter or cousin or brother or sister and get help. But you can pull up 2 YouTube pages at the same time, and you can play them both, and they'll both sound through your headphones. So one thing that would be great is to look up this album or purchase it by Dean Evanson, and it's called Forest Rain. And you'll have to go through the tracks. There's about 5 tracks on there that are very smooth. It's just flowing, smooth flute music. And in the background is this sort of drone sound that is meditation inducing. And it's a great and powerful aid for getting into the kind of trance state that you go into for this kind of meditation. And really it's just halfway between ordinary mind and deep meditation, and instead of going through it, you go out horizontally and explore it. That's kind of what it is. So you might try that if that helps. It's also really helpful. You could use my drones. On our channel, on this channel, there's a drone called Drone in D. There's also one called Drone in C, and a couple of others. And you could pick one of those and play it while listening to the guided meditation also, if you find that helpful. Most people do need that aid. Even in the cultures where this kind of meditation was birthed, they need a sonic aid for making it successful. So maybe check into that, or use the drones that I've provided on this channel. And I'm really hoping you guys will practice it, and then I'm guessing there will be questions about it if you're taking it seriously and doing it. And I really want you to, because I'm very convinced now that this is a very important piece of things. And I didn't learn it from a Christian tradition. And so even though it's found in Christianity, the way I learned it wasn't Christian. And so there was a translation problem there that I had to work through. And I also just kind of put it on the shelf for a while because I couldn't find the right approach, but I feel like I've completely found that approach, so that what we're doing is entirely consistent with Christian spirituality. But it is definitely a new way of interacting with that. So, okay, that's it. I hope you guys will take the time to use those videos and like I said, do them several times each. Once you have done it a few times, then go and do the same thing on your own. And I would really love, it would be really great if you guys could report back in the comment section below the videos how it's going. And there could be a little bit of open dialogue that way about it. I think that would be wonderful. And it's not a gimmick or a trick. So while it is sometimes unbelievably fun and blissful to be down in there, I mean, last night for me was spectacular. I bet I was in there 40 minutes and I was weeping with just how incredible. It was unbelievable. So beautiful. And then the devotion piece. And so while it is sometimes spectacularly fun and beautiful, it is also deeply meaningful and something to be taken with real reverence and respect in the same way you would take any legitimate spiritual practice. So, okay. That's all. Lots of videos this week. So thank you all. And please do let me know how it's going. I really feel like we should have some dialogue back and forth about this. I don't think you should just do it without having dialogue back and forth with me. So I would love it if you put it in the comment below one of the videos. That would be a great way to do it. But you're also welcome to call or email or whatever you'd like to do. Okay, thanks guys.